Okay, and welcome back to part 2 of our conversation with Amy and Brandon about premium partners.
To me, if you really look at what makes Lamb Weston, to me, what I would consider special is the people that are here, right? So it's all of us together that add in and make what the customer experiences feel different than I think they get from other suppliers that they work with, is that it's just not one person that they're dealing with, that it does take the community in order to make this whole thing work for Lamb Weston. So I loved it. To Amy's example, it's perfect, right? So if you don't know something, I don't think anyone here should ever feel afraid to pick up that phone and call, because somebody is willing to help. And that's the thing I've learned from day one is, man, you ask for help, and sometimes you get bombarded with too many people that want to help you, and you got to get them off the phone way quicker than what you were anticipating, right? It's like, holy cow, like I just was asking a simple question, and 4 hours later, I now have a 74-page PowerPoint to go through with all the background to that question. So I think it's awesome. Like, I really do. I think that the customers feel it. You know, you look at all the different things, and I love watching when I get the chance to take a back seat and watch interactions between, you know, I am very, very thankful that I get the opportunity to have, like, our quality team is one I'll always brag up, because I think that we're second to none when it comes down to quality. I understand that, you know, maybe others are starting to close that gap a little bit on Lamb Weston, but I'll always stand behind Lamb Weston's quality. I think we're second to none, in my opinion. And when you get to sit back as a salesperson, it makes me very, very proud when I watch our quality team in a cutting with a customer and the pride that they take on that cutting, right? The feedback they take. And then it's just not the quality team. You hear the plant managers are involved. You have everybody at the plant involved in wanting the feedback of how did it go? How can we do it better? What was, you know, what did they like? What, you know, what's interesting to them about it? And the people are like, yeah, it tastes good. And we're like, well, like, you know, help us explore. Like, we geek out on that stuff. I think it's awesome. I do think it's so great when you get to see that. The passion that everybody has here, I think is really neat. Even, you know, it goes every single department, I think, is the same way. And it's funny to me when you kind of encounter someone that's having a bad day and they're like, yeah, okay. You're like, uh-oh, that doesn't feel right. That interaction's not right. Like, why aren't you excited about what's going on right now? So,
yeah. It humanizes it, right? Like, it humanizes the company of having all those people. And I think you said this too, Amy, but it's just a matter of, like, we're wanting to grow, and we're wanting to be better. And it is for that customer at the end of the day. But it's that humanizing element again too. Like, there's people behind this. And the people care, like, the people really, really care. And I think some of the longevity, like, we just talked to Jeff Plew a little bit ago, and, you know, he's been here for 36 years. And so you see these people that have been around and how they're constantly trying to evolve the company. I know we were like, oh, Jeff, you're such a gift.
But right?
Just
and
overrated.
He's the nicest guy.
Yeah.
It's just so nice.
Overrated.
Well, yeah. I mean, and
overrated.
I won't tell him that, but I mean, what a perfect illustration this podcast is. And also, sometimes it's easy to forget that there's almost 10,000 people that work at Lamb Weston, and the fact that we all can agree, or at least the four of us right now can agree, that you could pick up the phone or write a quick email to somebody you may have never worked with before and said, hey, somebody told me that you could help me with this, and you can almost guarantee that you'll get a response back. Like, that's pretty phenomenal for a global company.
Yeah, it's so wild too, because I have the privilege of being able to onboard new salespeople, right? Myself and Jason Kagi and Brian Smith. And one of the first things we talk about with new salespeople is, listen, it's going to be a little weird at first. Like, you're going to have a lot of people that you don't know be like, hey, welcome. You know, there may come a time where you're like, huh, is this real? Did I just walk into, like, a cult situation? Why is everybody so nice? When does the other shoe drop? You know, because without question, you know, they're drinking from a fire hose, right, when they start their learning journey. But, oh my gosh, like, then you start introducing them to, like, the different collaborative partners, and they're like, oh, hey, welcome. You know, put time on my calendar. And not this round, but the previous round of new hires, I got a couple, is this, like, real questions? And I was like, yeah, it is. Like, either that or like I've drank the Kool-Aid and you should run screaming from this meeting, but I'm pretty sure it's real. It's pretty amazing.
Well, and I think y'all both just highlighted like really great examples and stories of premium partner experiences. So like Brandon, you're talking about the QA team and just that like the detail and care that goes into the consistency in the product of our company and just having that interaction with them. And Amy, just for your example right there of the training calls and the way that people jump on trying to help one another. And that's a great way of like and Brandon's is a little bit more like internal to external and Amy's is a little bit more like fully internal, but they're still showcasing really good ways of how we as a company and the people in our company try to be premium partners throughout Lamb Weston, which is just really cool to see like the breadth of it that like just naturally y'all are just bringing these stories and these examples to light from your past experiences or things that y'all have encountered.
I'll wait before we go to the next question because I don't remember what the next question is, but I would be so curious to know Brandon, what do you think about the way we sell, like the way we go about selling in the field? Because I have some thoughts on that too that I think are pretty neat, but I'm curious from your lens what that looks like.
It's a good question. So I'll say this. So I know probably the way, maybe I'm not supposed to go through this, but I'll say that the way we sell on national accounts might be different than the way that we do in others, right? But I'll say that one thing that, again, I might have said it, I might not have. I do think as a company, we always act with a lot of integrity, right? So when it comes down to the way we sell, I can tell you on our side, there's a lot of education that goes into it. We just don't give a price and walk away and say that is what it is. We spend a lot of time with the education with the customer of what does that mean, right? So what do you get with that price and what is it all? We have to tell the Lamb Weston story. So like we're talking about here of how are we a premium partner? So we don't just do the sales. It's not a typical sales pitch, right? So we go into who is Lamb Weston? What do you get when you buy into this company? You're just not buying a box of fries and that's it. And then we walk away and we'll talk to you in another year. We tell the whole story from the ground up of, we have a little diagram that we show on our side that I love it, where we introduce them to who their extended team is, right? So again, I take a lot of pride as maybe it's probably beating a dead horse here, but I take a lot of pride in everybody that will touch that customer and the impact that they can have on that customer. And we tell that story, right? So it's like, yes, this is the price, but look at everything you're going to get for this price is that you're going to have the support. You're going to have more resources than what you'll know what to do with. But that's what we want, is we want to make sure that you know what you're getting. So how we approach that sale is we're going to give them everything. And we're going to lay it out for them and kind of the whole story of who Lamb Weston is. And then we show it to them, right? Like I think always, I'm a big fan of actions speak louder than words. So it's like, hey, we make sure we follow up. We have those business update meetings. We make sure that they feel like they got what they paid for. But that's kind of the way that we've always approached it on our side. I think we have a lot of integrity to say, here's what the price is and here's what you're going to get for the price, and make sure that we're following up to those standards that we're setting in that. Hopefully that answered it, Amy. Let's see what your thoughts are.
I love that. I love that because what we're like your area of business looks a little different than ours does. I think one of the things that I really appreciate about like how leadership designed the direct selling model was around, and like not to nerd out for a minute, but like, really in trying to ingrain the sales team, the chain account managers, but for sure the OSSs and the DSMs around like the 6 stages. Like selfishly, I feel like we know that we're really pretty good at what we do, right? But when we go out and we interact with the operator, I think from every corner of the business, what we're encouraging them to be remindful of is it's also not about just us. It's about what that customer needs, and really putting on that consultative hat and digging in and asking the questions. Like the worst thing to me you can hear is a salesperson go in and be like, hey, I'm Jane from whatever company. Like, I'm here to show you this. What do you buy? What's your price? It's like, we haven't even gone out on our first date yet, like
Mhm.
this is not appropriate. Back way up. We got to get to know each other here a little bit, and when we when we go through those steps and those activities, like when it comes to like the business planning and discovery and like eventually getting to a solution space, hopefully, yeah, they're for sure learning about us, but we really need to be learning about them. We need
Mhm.
to understand what drives them as a consumer, what is important to them as a buyer.
Mhm.
The one question always, I mean, let's be honest, right? Like, what's your prices? Like, we're programmed to say that. My 10-year-old says that. How much does that cost? She doesn't even know why she says it. She has no concept of money, none.
Yep.
Right? Because I have to get her to school this morning by 9 a.m. at 8:15. She's like, can we go to Starbucks? Like, there's just no, there's no concept there. And I feel like this industry is so programmed in that space. Like, what's your price? Why are you here? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to lead with that. Like, I kind of
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
like to like, get to know you a little bit. I don't know that it's going to be a fit. I don't know that
Mhm.
our goals are aligned, and that's okay.
Yeah.
We're super lucky in North America. There's a lot of places to go knock on their doors, but I
Mhm.
think we must be relentless in our pursuit of understanding the operator, like
Mhm.
relentless.
Mhm.
And even though we want to go fast, right? Because that's like our nature, I think, as salespeople, we want to get the win, we want to get the
Mhm.
victory. Um, does it make sense? Like, is it a fit? Let me slow down and make sure that I'm gonna I'm gonna make a good business decision for not just me, but my team, right?
Mhm.
There's a reason we call it team selling, not just for me, but for my team and for
Mhm.
how it all rolls up. It's counterintuitive at times, but it's really important, I think, for them to keep that in mind.
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, now Brandon, if you want to add stuff too, it's just cool to hear you talk about, because we say partners, we say partnership, and I think a big function of that is the relationship and is that relationship building. And Rachel and I often talk about it, like you just said, like dating.
Mhm.
And sometimes it might sound silly, but it's a really powerful way to think about it. It's like you wouldn't just want somebody to propose to you on the first date. Like there's got to
Mhm.
be some learning in between. So I really just appreciate how you brought that up, Amy.
Yeah, I feel like it's a big, it's such a, again, having that direct contact with our customers, that's a huge benefit to us being able to have the ability to have those types of conversations.
Mhm.
If we were repped by a broker, they don't have that ability. They've got a line of things they have to represent, and we just have to focus on us and the customer, and that's a pretty cool space to be in.
Mm-hmm.
And just to
Yeah.
add on to it just a second, I love what Amy said about listening to the customer, right? And hearing what they're saying is important to them and making sure that it is a fit for us. So to build on the dating analogy, we have customers that date multiple people, and we have to make sure that we're the ones that are bringing that solution that maybe they didn't know, right? That the other one just maybe thinking it's, you hate to say it, but there are, you think, oh, everyone falls into that. It's all about the price. It's all about the price to a point, but to a point it's not. So I do think it's important that you listen to what their needs are. What are they saying? What are their actions even? What are they showing that is important to them? And how do we make sure that we're a fit for them? And if we're not, I think we have to have that integrity to say, this might not be us, or we have to be able to say, hey, we have some really cool solutions for you. So love that
Yeah, I love
answer,
that.
Amy.
Mm-hmm.
No, I love what you just said about some really cool solutions for you. Because it's
Mhm.
definitely not a one size fits all, right? I also think
True.
it's funny that you said basically we have some customers out there that like to date more than once. I would say it's a very fluid area that we live in. You know what I mean? Like, there's all kinds of people doing all kinds of things out there. We're not one to judge, but we are gonna have some thoughts, we have some standards, and that's all right.
Yeah. And that
I'm behaving, Rachel. I'm I
I know you
promise.
are. You're
That's right.
trying
I'm
very hard to
behaving.
behave.
Yeah. So Amy has talked about cults and multiple relationships. I like it.
I love that we're wrapping up on this note. I will say that. No,
Is there a
but honestly,
blooper reel?
There should be, and there can be. So you never know.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So yeah, that actually it'll be pretty fun. But no, I know that, like I said, I know we wanted to wrap up, or we've got to, but I just appreciated how this conversation went today. I think it was really illustrative of who we are at Lamb Weston, and how we bring a lot of value as partners to, of course, not just our customers, but internally as well. And hopefully that just continues to thrive. So if there's any parting thoughts, though, wanted to take a quick pause before we depart.
You're up, Brendan.
Yeah, I got one. So number one, so Amy, congratulations on the Commanders having a halfway successful season for the first time in the 2020s.
Yeah, you jinx it.
I do think that's amazing, and I do think it's great that you found somebody else that actually cheers for such a classy organization.
Thank God for
as you guys
Jason
have.
Light. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Anyway, just want to get that off my chest, but I do think it's an awesome topic, right? So in all seriousness, I think this is something that as a company, through thick and thin, we should take a lot of pride in, that we have a lot of great people here that all come together to make sure that the customers are taken care of. And it's important to remember that, we're not in this for the short run. We're not in this for the short run with these customers, that it's all about the decades of relationships that we build. And it's a key founding part of that is being that premium partner. So love the topic, appreciate being invited on. I think that you're going to be able to not have to bleep out half of what we said. So I think we did halfway decent, Amy.
Let's
Yes. There you go.
Thank
I
you
Awesome.
so much.
I echo the thanks. Thanks for having us on. It was a lot of fun. I think what you're doing is really cool because it's to me, what it feels like is bringing awareness, and that's a nice thing to do, especially when it comes to our sales folks that spend so much time kind of like grinding on their own in the field, right? Whatever that looks like. And so to feel connected to our business, which to me, our business is the people. Like brick and mortar is brick and mortar. But when you talk about Lamb Weston, you're talking about our people, period. That's my interpretation of it. Hopefully people in the building, as well as our operators, are having a premium experience. And if they're not, I hope you raise your hand and say that you're not. Because if we don't know, we don't know how to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
Plus, you guys are awesome hosts.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We try. Thank you both so much for your time and for the conversation. Hopeful that it was insightful for someone listening, which I know it will be.
Absolutely. So thank you.
And that's all for today's episode of Tater Talk. We want to thank Brandon and Amy for spending all the time with us and giving, Amy 3 truths, no lies, and Brandon a fun little quiz. I feel like we all probably learned something new about them, hopefully, beyond just, their 3 truths and a lie. And Haley and I were laughing after the call because we were like, they made our job so easy for us. They kept taking the words out of our mouth because they just had so much to say about premium partners. They just kept going and were given examples. We're like, okay, well, we as hosts didn't really have to do much in this episode.
Yeah, we got to do a lot of smiling and nodding, which is great. And I'm not mad about it. I think what really, and I said it at the time, but again, just want to hit home again that it's so important to understand how we have external partnerships and internal partnerships and how they both really spoke so highly of how they can work together at Lamb Weston. Again, just a great conversation.
Yeah. So again, thank you, Brandon and Amy, for your conversation and imparting some wisdom on our premium partners.
Yes. And if you all enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, share it with anybody else who might find it valuable. And as always, we will see you next time on Tater Talk.
Bye.
Bye.